And I want you to think about, if you will, when you were an interviewee, and what was one of the best interviews you had? You know, we all have that experience where we walked out and we thought, you know, that was a really good interview. And it was probably a good interview because we got a lot of good information about the position, about the company. We felt comfortable in the exchange. We felt like we made a connection with the people we were interviewing with. We had good rapport. Maybe it was the way they treated us. They you know, greeted us appropriately. They offered us a beverage if we wanted it. Maybe if we had a number of people we were interviewing with through the day, maybe they gave us an agenda. So we had, you know, who we're interviewing with, the time, maybe their title, because we always want to make sure that, you know, we follow up with a thank you note so we knew exactly who we were meeting with, the correct spelling of their name. And it just came off as a very professional experience, and it helped us to have that experience in thinking that this is a place I want to work, because right from the get-go, they treated me as a professional and they respected me as an applicant. A good interview may have been one that you were able to ask questions and get good answers to the questions that you had. And then finally, you left knowing the next steps. You left knowing, you know, when would a decision be made? When would you hear from somebody? Who would you be hearing from? So you knew going forward that whether you were going to be successful in being the candidate that they chose, at least you knew the process. So you didn't leave there going, I don't know anything about next steps. I don't know when I'll be hearing. So overall, that best interview or some good interview perspective may have been you felt good about your experience. And as enjoyable as interviews can be, because we all know there can be quite nerve-wracking for all around, we left there thinking it was a really good experience. Conversely, think about the worst interview experience you've had, and we've all had them, okay? It may have been one where the interviewer talked all the time, and we felt like we left there not knowing anything about, you know, the company. We left there not knowing anything about how we felt that we came off in the interview, because basically we didn't say very much because we weren't asked very much. The irony about these types of interviews is sometimes when you ask the interviewer how it went, they'll say, oh, it was great listener, you know, I really enjoyed talking with her, when really you as the interviewee had very little to say. A worse interview may be because you didn't find out a lot. It may be that you felt you were on the firing line, that the questions just were rampant and you just, you know, gave a quick answer and then the next question came and you really weren't able to develop a rapport or a connection with that interviewer. You may have felt very nervous, and very nervous to the point where it showed, and you just didn't think you came off well. The interview may have been too short, so you really didn't feel like you learned a lot. You didn't really feel like you were able to ask a lot. You may have felt like it was too long, it dragged on, and things were just repeated over and over again. There may have been a test that you were given that you didn't anticipate. It may have been that you had a panel interview and that was a bit unnerving. Or it may be that they kept you waiting for a long time and you just felt in a way disrespected because, you know, you were kept waiting 20, 30 minutes. It really wasn't organized. They really weren't professional. And so your takeaway was not only did you have a bad experience in interviewing, but it really left you with a bad experience on the company, and it made you pause to think if you really wanted to pursue an opportunity with the company. We know in reality, hiring new employees and the interviewing process is really a major investment for the company and for job applicants. And therefore, it's important to learn how to make productive decisions and how to have a great interview, because it does cost a lot. And again, as I mentioned before, for future hires, we want to think about what is the experience that you had as an interviewee so that you can help spread the word in a positive way that this may be a company that you want to work at. This is just an example of the various pieces of the hiring puzzle and the cost associated with those various pieces. So let's just take a hypothetical situation. Let's say we're hiring for a position with a budgeted salary of $40,000. So to get the word out, we place 3 advertising ads at $500 a piece, and so that's $1,500 for the advertising cost. Somebody's got to process those applications, spend time looking at those applications to know how to classify them. So let's say we get 50 applications, that's 25 admin hours, because let's say it takes 30 minutes to process them. At $20 an hour for that admin cost, that's another $500. Let's say we have 2 interviewers, and they make $40 an hour, and so that's times 5 applicants that we've chosen. So that's $400, because 2 applicants times 10, I guess you could think of, is $40,000. Lost opportunities. Let's say because we are having to hire again because we, had a person leave quickly, or we just made a bad hire. Revenue from incomplete projects, lost sales, the disruption in customer service, all those lost opportunities, all that non-productivity has a cost. So in this example, we're saying $5,000 because that may be, a significant portion of 6 weeks or something of ramp-up time that you may have had in training, or that you're going to have in training somebody new. Again, if we take that down, the training process in this case is like $3,300 a month. So again, that's $10,000. Then if the person doesn't work out, we're going to pay them a month's worth of severance. So if you total all these individual pieces, you're looking at over $20,000, which is 50% of the cost of the budgeted position that you were interviewing for. And this is pretty typical, if not even conservative. So when we think about the interviewing process, when we think about getting information through the interview process to make a good hire, we need to think about, if we don't take the interview process seriously and professional and do the things we need to do to make sure that we have a good experience, there is a significant cost if we make a bad hire. And I think we just need to think about that as we move forward so that we can make the correct hires, so that we can make sure that we are being productive with our dollars, because we know dollars at our companies are not real numerous today, and so we need to take care of those.